And Shaun spent a significant amount of time talking to those members of staff, but I still get no sense of that. Is what do they actually do as theatre and media for development practitioners in the developing world? What do they do? And what do they do differently to... Because my thinking is that actually as arts and health practitioners, perhaps that's an odd label, but it's one that's closest to any kind of recognition of what we do. Is it the same practice? Is the practice the same? And I understand one and I don't understand the other, and I know that there is, it's almost a snobbery, isn't it, about what happens in the UK, which we're trying to strengthen. We're trying to improve those skills and help people to look critically at their practice so that they understand and can...
including these three people.
Yeah.
I think, Jack, that for me, there's a paradox there that exists. Now, paradox isn't a contradiction, it's just a paradox, okay, that exists in... all three of them talk about the need for finding authentic identity and be able to improve the ability to communicate through the establishment of constructive, fruitful and respectful relational dynamics. So in terms of the kind of soft stuff, they're there, they understand the need for that. They understand that in the context of development, but also in the context of pedagogy too. So as educationalists and theatre practitioners, they understand that. What blights it is this dogmatic ideology, right, that creates a framework that for some students seems to be, and I'm not quite sure if it is yet, seems to be impositional.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do about saying, well, because I mean, towards the end of these 2 hours of discussions, one of the questions I said, well, how have you improved what you've done? Yeah. What is it? Because I suppose the first part is, what is it that you do?
Yeah.
And towards the end, I said, well, what have you done to improve it? Where are the gaps?
Yeah. And if I could just suggest as well, because one of the key questions I found over years relates to judgments that people make, that they're actually making a difference. So where you say about improving practice, this issue of, well, and it might sound like a positivist question, but it's not, which is, well, what kind of evidence do you have that you've influenced anything, if you like, in the direction that you believe it should go? Now, at the moment, I'm not hearing in what you're saying that there is a focus on examining the nature of the influence that people are having, in relation to living those values as fully as they can. And it goes again with what you've said, that it feels to me that as you check out whether this is being impositional, you will actually want creatively to transform that so that it is no longer impositional, but is actually empowering and creative.
I suppose that's right, but surely the evidence should be in the practice in terms of what the students take away from it, if the practice changes.
Yes, it should. That is the very question.
That's where you look for the evidence.
Yeah, and also that the students themselves should be being encouraged to inquire into their own learning in a way which actually provides that evidence in relation to their own narratives. Now, that I think is it is so important to actually raise those issues.
Yes, because we've seen some of the work of the students, and you can actually see, one young woman, Linda, who is, she's a theatre practitioner that worked in Bali in a men's prison. And that in itself was a huge challenge because they don't allow women in men's prisons.
Yeah.
Because of cultural issues, okay? Secondly, it was the work that she got the prisoners to do. They made a film about sexual health.
Do you know, I remember this? Yeah.
And again, there is no recognition of homosexuality. So to get to actually move to a position where she was accepted in the prison, but also that they allowed her to do this piece of work and allowed the prisoners to do the piece of work. It was a huge process of transformation.
Yeah.
But that's not, when you read her thesis, it's apparently going to be a distinction, but it didn't tell me those things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's, because I suppose different courses look for different things in terms of what they award a distinction for, and it was a very good piece of work.
Yeah.
But there isn't that reflective part of it, is there?
Okay, but could I then just ask, if you see...
That's context, Jack.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for us, the problem is that Barry and I will be interacting. We'll be bouncing off each other during this conversation that we're going to have on Friday.
Yeah.
Neither of us will be able to hold the camera. Yeah.
Okay, so can you get... What I would do in that case, and I do it with my camera, it's not as effective, but you can actually just set it up. It depends how many people are there, but you can actually put it on a tripod, actually focused on yourselves if you're not moving about too much, and you will get very good data to show you what you're doing. Now, if I was to now put this onto YouTube, just our conversation, I can just remove it with a click. But what it could do is to give you just something to look at, because if I ask both of you, in the context of just coming back from the South African research group, which was called Self-Study for the Transformative Higher Education. Okay, so that was the research that they're all focusing on, self-study for transformative higher education. Now, if you were to look at, say, 2 10-minute clips from this, the quality won't be that good, but you will hear yourselves accounting for what you're doing. Now, if we then focus on those questions, well, if you're engaged in a self-study together, which is collaborative, what could I hear within what you're saying which would give me insights into the nature of the influence that you're having in the direction that you want to have it? So I could keep echoing back to you or focusing back on you. What data are you gathering that will enable you to make a judgment on your influence in relation to the 3 people, the lecturers that you're working with, and the students? Now, I do think that kind of account, again, might be useful not just to you, but for the other people that you're actually working with. Now, Shaun, where you say you need a third person, what I've also noticed as we talk is that sometimes there's a shying away from the production of an account which does actually embrace your influence. And I keep coming back to that, and I have in many conversations. And I really don't believe that you need that other person. I think your creativity and your generativity could actually start to work to offer an account of the nature of your influence in relation to what it is you've said on this video. So if I now just literally, I go away and I just get the last 2 sets of 10 minutes, put them on YouTube, send the URLs back to you. I do think it would be really worthwhile just watching yourselves and just listening. And just in relation to that development of an account, which would enable you to actually get closer to an understanding of the influence that you're having within the context you've just been describing. And then we can try them around all this week. And if you feel like, doing what we've just done again now, then we can take it up further. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Don't be scared, you'll be fine.
Yes.
I'm scared.
No,
I'm scared.
I'll do that now.
Reluctant? I'm not reluctant either.
Good. Right, I shall do that now. Okay? Great to see you.
Right, okay, so if you do that, send us a URL.
Yes, I will. Good. Okay. Bye-bye then. Bye-bye for now. Ta-da.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye.